There was no better goaltender in the ECHL during the regular season than Toledo's Pat Nagle. However, when it comes to the postseason awards, he finished runner-up. Nagle making the All-ECHL second team today. South Carolina goalie Parker Milner, who was tops in goals against average at 1.88, was named to the first team. The voice of the Walleye, Matt Melzek, joined us yesterday with his thoughts on Nagle's postseason thus far. What about in the back end, Pat Nagle? I mean, obviously, Indy scored some goals, but he is still living up to what his end of the bargain is, the way he's played, and been a pretty good backstop here through the first two.
Well, let's talk about those goals that he allowed last night, Eric. The last one being on a power play where A.J. Jenks tries to wrap the puck around. It hits the back of the net and just drops right there for an Indy player to take it and tuck it right in, as Pat Nagle believes the puck's going around. Just a weird, fluky bounce there. You look at their first goal yesterday where Nagle makes the save. It comes back out. It hits Brian Obakowski's skates and goes right back to an Indy player who tucks it into an empty net. That's two of the three goals. Their second goal is a great play, guy going to the front of the net. It goes off of him anyhow. It's not like he deflected it in. It just hits his leg and goes into the back of the net. Those are the three goals that Pat Nagle allowed. The goals that you don't want to see allowed are those ones that you would go, boy, that's a soft goal there. That's something you don't want to see him allow. The goals that he allowed yesterday, Indy had to get some help to get those goals. That tells you that Pat Nagle's on his game.
Right, no question. Call-ups. I mean, we don't expect them this time of year, but they happen. Mike Borkowski goes up to Grand Rapids. Anybody else that we could possibly lose here in the next few weeks?
Well, it'll all depend on what happens for Grand Rapids as they get their playoffs underway. If they get any more injuries, especially defensively, then you could see a Kevin Tansey end up going up. There's still that possibility is out there, Eric. Even if there were to be more forwards that would get hurt, you would see Grand Rapids possibly recalling a Sadaway or something of that nature. But I think right now they're going to be set where they're at, and Toledo's going to be set where they're at. So barring any injuries, I think this is what you're going to see for Toledo the rest of the way.
All right, final question here. Going on the road now, we've got a 2-game-to-none lead. Is it something that 8-1 in the regular season, you got to think that the odds are in the favor. Can they get the sweep in the next 2 games in Indy?
Well, I think the biggest focus has got to be on getting Game 3. Indy's going to throw everything they've got and then some into Game 3 because they have to stay in the series. If you lose Game 3, you're down 3-0. You look at now all of a sudden that number you just brought up, the 8-1, the fact that in the regular season all-time Toledo's 23-3-1 against the Indy Fuel. I mean, those numbers start to creep in, whether they mean anything to this team or not. On the Indy side, but they're going to start thinking about it. Oh my God, now we're down 0-3. We got to win 4 straight against this team. I mean, then it becomes where you become your own worst enemy. So the early part of Game 3 is going to be intense. It is going to be interesting to see how it goes. It's going to be a lot of Pat Nagle. How well does he do in the early going? Because we know we're going to see a lot from the Indy Fuel, especially early on in Game 3 on Wednesday night.